Within a month of Dugas taking charge, the Quebec government declared martial law throughout the Megantic region.
They knock down doors. I mean, they come to these people's places and just bash down the doors. I mean, go through the windows. They wouldn't just, knock on the door and say, "Have you seen Donald?"
The plan seemed clear: break the backs and spirits of those determined to aid and abet a fugitive. Dugas figured that intimidation would undermine the efforts of the Morrison Defense League and help him control the flow of information by the press.
People kept ending up in jail. I mean, they were dragged off to the shore. All these Scots people, these family, McIvers and the McRitchies, and they'd be dragged off to jail. They said, well, they'd move in. They said, well, Morrison was here. Take them off to jail.
And when you think of a year evading arrest and depending on friends to house him, clothe him, protect him.
They really rode the community hard at the same time, trying to break the community. The community never broke. Whether they felt Donald had done wrong or not, he was a Scotsman, he was one of them, and they weren't going to let him down. And they never let him down.
Dugas held 45 warrants and increased the pressure. He now commanded 200 men in the region. As for Donald, it had been 11 months since he shot Warren. He'd been on the run for over a year.
In the meantime, their families were suffering. The support of the house was gone. And I think he realized this. He couldn't go on. This could not go on because he was taking too much from his friends. It was too big a price for them to pay. And I guess he knew he'd have to stop somewhere.
Judge Dugas wanted to work out a truce. And to make it simple, they were going to meet. John Leonard, who was his lawyer, and the Morrison Defense League set up this truce so that Judge Dugas could actually talk to Morrison.
On April 11th, Dugas and Morrison met in an abandoned schoolhouse. Dugas' request was simple: surrender. There was nothing else to be said.
April 12, 1889. Morrison stated that he felt greatly honored by the judge's visit, but that there was only one condition upon which he would surrender himself, namely, that the judge would give his word that he should be acquitted. The judge was unable to agree. Morrison expressed great doubt at the judge's ability to prevent him from hanging. Finally, he declined entirely to surrender.
The next day, Dugas served his 45 warrants, but within a week, there was a call for another meeting with Morrison. The Caledonian Society, influential Scots promoting brotherhood, helped secure a truce through the Easter weekend of 1889. Donald was tired of being an outlaw. This time he was prepared to listen and reach an agreement. News of the truce, it seems, did not reach everyone. Montreal detective James McMahon and guide Pierre Loyer maintained a vigil outside the Morrison cabin.
Either they did not get the word or they ignored the word, and when he came back to his parents' home I guess he was going to clean up a little bit and shave and dress himself up a little bit for this meeting with Judge Dugas.
As he was leaving his parents' cabin to go into Stornoway, where he was going to sit down and see if they could come to terms, that's when he was shot and captured.
When he finally went down with a bullet in his right hip, they found his gun inside his pocket wrapped up in an oilcloth, which was hardly where he could get to it if he was expecting to be able to use it.
A special train departed Megantic at 3:30 in the morning with a wounded Donald Morrison guarded by 50 armed men. Its destination, the Sherbrooke jail, where he was held for 6 months. The charges to which he pleaded not guilty were arson, shooting at McMahon and Laroyer, and the murder of Jack Warren. The trial was presided over by Judge Edward T. Brooks, by all reports a remote and stern individual.
Sherbrooke, October 2nd, 1889. If the courthouse at Sherbrooke was crowded yesterday, even the sidewalk leading up to it could hardly accommodate more people than were placed there this morning, when the jail carriage discharged the 4 members of the provincial police, and in the midst, the central figure of interest, Donald Morrison.
The trial lasted only 7 days.
October the 9th, 1889. He was perfectly calm and collected, and not at all like a man who might be condemned to death at any moment. He smiled to the friends he noticed in the audience and took his place in the dock as coolly as if he was going to deliver a speech at a political meeting.
After deliberating overnight, the jury handed down its decision.
We have agreed upon a verdict, Your Honor, and it is to the effect that the prisoner is guilty of manslaughter, but hope that you will give him the lightest penalty which you can conscientiously give him.
Judge Brooks responded.
The impression must not go before the public that anyone, be he high or low, rich or poor, can resist the authority of the law, which must be supreme, with the view of showing everyone in this land of ours that the authority and majesty of the law is supreme. It is the duty of this court to impose on you a sentence which shall mark the enormity and gravity of the crime of which you have been convicted. The sentence that the court pronounces is that you be confined in the provincial penitentiary at St. Vincent de Paul at hard labor for the term of 18 years.
When the words 18 years were pronounced, a perceptible shudder ran through the audience. Calm and with a peaceful smile, he lifted his head courteously to the crowd that had remained near and said in clear, ringing tones,
"Goodbye, gentlemen, for 18 years.
But there was definitely a nationalist and a political element to it, because he was, of course, sentenced to 18 years at hard labor for what was obviously a self-defense, and could have been punished by, a fine of $2 or a couple of years in jail.
The freedom Donald had known was in stark contrast with what was to come.